The Four Elements by Bradstreet, 1612 to 1672. The fire, air, earth, and water did contest which was the strongest, noblest, and the best. Who was of greatest use and mightiest force, in placid terms they thought now to discourse. That in due order each her turn should speak, but enmity this amity did break. All would be chief, and all scorned to be under. Whence issued winds and rains, lightning and thunder. The quaking earth did groan, the sky looked black, the fire, the forced air, in sunder crack. The earth did threat the heavens the earth. All looked like a chaos or new birth. Fire broiled earth, and scorched earth it choked. Both by their darings water so provoked, that roaring in it came, and with its source soon made the combatants abate their force. The rumbling, hissing, puffing was so great, the world's confusion it did seem to threat, till gentle air contention so abated, that betwixt hot and cold she arbitrated. The other's difference being less did cease, all storms now laid, and they in perfect peace, that fire should first begin, the rest consent, the noblest and the most attractive element. Okay, this is a poem by Bradstreet. Let's see, Bradstreet was a Puritan. She was born in Northampton, and when she was 16 she got married. She came from a relatively wealthy family, and for a woman of that time she received quite a lot of education. She was tutored in history and several languages. Anyway, age 16 she got married, and age 18 her family went to the New World. They went to live in the Massachusetts Bay Colony. This is 1630. She's 18 years old, and she was the wife and daughter of various public officials in the in the Massachusetts Bay Colony. Now, what is this about? Well, this poem, it's talking about competition between the elements, between the four elements: earth, fire, air, and water. And there is conflict between them, and these disrupt the natural world, they disrupt everything. But through mediation, through the recognition of the importance of each one, then harmony was able to be restored again. So it's a poem about strife, and each person wanting to be the most important, to be the leader, and the four elements have been personified, and they have human-like qualities, and each one is vying to be the most important. But eventually they all agree to have different qualities and to actually live in harmony, and that's the best way of doing it. The fire, air, earth, and water did contest which was the strongest, noblest, and the best. So fire, air, earth, and water, they contested who was the strongest, who was the noblest, who was the best, who was of greatest use and mightiest force. So who was the most useful, who was the strongest? in placid terms they thought now to discourse. So they thought they would just talk about this. They would have a friendly argument about it to see, and they would talk about it. That in due order each her turn should speak. So each earth, fire, air and water, they would all speak, and they would all put their case about why they were the strongest, the noblest, the best. But enmity, this amity, did break. But they argued. So they agreed originally to do this in a friendly way. But they started arguing. All would be chief, and all scorned to be under, whence to be under. So everybody wanted to be the most important. Nobody refused to be less important than anyone else. So this originally started as a quiet, friendly thing where each person would argue their qualities. But then they start arguing. Whence issu'd winds and rains, lightning and thunder. And suddenly there was strong winds, there were rains, there was lightning, there was thunder. So the four elements are fighting. The quaking earth did groan. So the earth was shaking, it was quaking. The sky looked black, and the sky went black. The fire, the forced air in sunder crack. So the fire caused lightning. The fire forced the air to break and to for lightning to come down. So the elements, they're arguing, and these are like people arguing, that each one has their own qualities, but now they're fighting. The sea did threat the heavens the earth. All looked like a chaos or new birth. So water threatened the heavens, and the heavens threatened the air, and the heavens threatened the earth, and everything was chaos. It was like everything was a newly born world again. Fire broiled earth. So fire boiled the earth, and scorched earth it choked. So the fire scorched and choked the earth. Both by their darings, water so provoked that roaring in it came. So as a result of what they'd done and what they had dared to do, water was so angry that it came roaring in, and with its source soon made the combatants abate their force. So then water rushed in, so there's this great big flood where water effectively separates earth and fire. Soon made the combatants abate their force. So this stopped the fighting. The rumbling, hissing, puffing was so great. Okay, so there's a rumbling and a hissing as the water comes in, and the water on the fire, and there is smoke coming up, or vapour. The world's confusion it did seem to threat, till gentle air contention so abated, that betwixt hot and cold she arbitrated. Puffing was so great, the world's confusion. So there was confusion everywhere. And finally, air stepped in. And the air is the gentle, and air reduced the problem, abated the problem between hot and cold, between the fire and the earth. And air arbitrated between the hot and the cold. The other's difference being less did cease, all storms now laid. So she arbitrated the difference between hot and cold. She arbitrated. And all of the storms and all of the problems and all of the chaos was reduced. And they in perfect peace, that fire should first begin. The rest consent, the noblest and the most active element. So air finally calmed them down, and they agreed that the air would be the strongest and the most active and the most noble element, but that each of them had their own qualities, and for the natural world to be as it should be, they need to agree. There needs to be a balance between earth, fire, air and water. And this is the idea. So with arguments between people or between nations or between groups, that each group has its own qualities, and we must recognize all of the qualities of all of the groups, and there must be a harmony between them in order for the world to be a nice place to live in. So, The Four Elements by Bradstreet.